take a quick minute. I really want to discuss, and stay with me here, okay, gerrymandering for just a moment. It's when you mix a Gary and a salamander. All right, does that make sense? See, the term actually comes from Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry, a founding father who decided to dramatically redraw the Senate districts in 1810 to weaken the opposing Federalist Party. And when he was all done, one of the districts was mocked in the press because of its odd shape that was clearly a political tactic. This is a picture from the Boston Sentinel in 1812. Some people said that it was shaped like a salamander, and since the media needs everything to be catchy and dramatic, they called the tactic gerrymandering. And over time, people just started referring to it as gerrymandering because, well, I don't know. But now you can be that annoying guy at the party who says, actually, it's pronounced gerrymandering. And you might be thinking, why would anybody be talking about that at a party? And now you just sound like my wife on our drive home from most parties. But I digress, and I'm going to hand over the explanation to Professor Jim Moore at Pacific University.
I was hoping you could explain gerrymandering in a simple way to people who might hear the term, recognize the term, but not quite understand what it entails.
So a gerrymander is manipulating the district so that they keep the people you want to be together, or exclude people from a district. In Oregon, we do a little bit of gerrymandering, but nothing like we see in other parts of the country.
Now, I thought gerrymandering was illegal.
You can manipulate the districts, but the Supreme Court has said the only reason you can do that is for racial or ethnic reasons. And so it prevents people, for instance, from making districts where an African-American community, a Black community, for instance, might be split. So there's no chance for a Black person to win to be the representative from that district. So that's the only thing you can take into account. You explicitly cannot take into account party registration when you make districts. And yet, it seems that everybody does it in every state in the country.
Okay, so there are rules and also plenty of gray area, which is why everyone's always accusing the other side of gerrymandering and why everyone is always kind of right, because they probably are gerrymandering at least a little bit. Now, right now, this is the new map proposed by Democrats, and according to 538, it favors Democrats, which isn't really hard to do in Oregon because we have lots of Democrats. Now, this is the map proposed by Republicans, which is more of a 50-50 kind of thing, which sounds fair, right? But it's actually favoring Republicans because the state isn't 50-50.
The most recent map is in contention right now. The Republicans are accusing the Democrats of gerrymandering. Given what you can see there, do you think they have a case?
They have a small case. The problems that the Republicans face is that when you look at the number of Republicans versus Democrats in this state, it's a 3-2 margin for the Democrats. And the population growth in the state has taken place where the Democrats live. There are more Democrats than there were 10 years ago, proportionally more than the Republicans grew during that same time.
So the Republicans have countered with a map of their own. What is your take on that map?
The Republican map for the Congress and for the legislature is designed so that the Republicans who have relatively fewer people, when you look at Democrats and Republicans, it's a 3-2 relationship. 3 Democrats for every 2 Republicans. It makes it so that the Republicans end up with half of the congressional districts, and they would probably move towards about half of the seats in the legislature, in the Senate and the House. So they would be overrepresented if the Republican maps were approved.
Which is probably one of the first factors they look at when considering if a map has been gerrymandered.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's all very riveting. I understand. I fully understand also why the 19th century media drew pictures of dragons on maps like cartographers in Middle Earth. Because a topic like this, it needs a little pizzazz. We need to spice it up just a bit. But you have to understand that these maps are a key part of representation. They're very, very important, and they're at least something that you should understand. So if you have questions, please let me know. Use that hashtag, HeyDan.